Here we are once again reviewing the wonderful clicking sound, or I should say terrible clicking sound that this engine is making, and still trying to figure out what is causing it. As I mentioned before, I have some suspicions. However, something else happens before I can really get down to the nitty-gritty, as it were, and that is after I take the unit apart and pull the engine out, I start having some issues with the E-unit. It doesn't want to cooperate, it's not wanting to rotate the drum very well. I can't figure out if the bottom of it is magnetized, what's going on. And then after a little bit of messing around, I take it apart and I see. And it's kind of as plain as the nose on my face. When you're dealing with the units, obviously we're looking for bad wire connections, we're looking for finger contacts that have burnt holes in them, but sometimes it's so obvious it's painful. In this case, as you see, the lever piece that's under the solenoid has actually come out of its bracket, and so I have to pull the unit apart, put that back in place, and once I do that, voila, the thing works like it should. So, good. Now we can proceed to figure out what really is going on here. And I run it slow, and I run it fast, and I'm looking for, is there an issue with the axles? Is there an issue with wear in the frame? I take the bottom plate off. I start looking at the primary gearing. Is there a problem here? Is there a tooth missing? I'm really struggling to figure out what is going on here. And I keep thinking, it almost acts like there's a wheel that's not quite in quarter. And I don't have real good proof of that at this point, so I just keep trying to figure it out, I slowly spin the wheels around. I experiment with taking the side valve, or the side rods loose, putting them back on, which I don't even show all of that. I just keep kind of tinkering with it, trying to figure it out, and then it just becomes as clear as, again, the nose on my face. And I realized, wow, there is a bent side rod. And what would cause a bent side rod? Well, probably because this is the side rod that's connected to the wheels, probably we have an issue with one of the wheels. And so I began to zero in on trying to sort through, okay, is there a wheel or set of wheels that's not quite in sync with the other? And here you can see me zooming in. Notice that slight bend, and so it makes me think that the front set of wheels is a little bit out, and I keep coming back to that as I move the wheels around. Here I'm using calipers just to double check. Are the holes similar on each side? Is there anything out of whack with the side rods? Did somebody else put a poorly or wrong size side rod somehow? All of that checks out. So here you see me flattening out that side rod using a very high-tech, specially designed, super expensive clamp. So there's probably going to be a bunch of people out there saying, oh, you can't do that. That's wrong. You've got to use such a tool. Well, this is what I had, and this is what I used, and I was careful, and it flattened, or I should say straightened out the side rod really well. And then, then I did something else that I'm sure is a cardinal sin. I have a wheel puller, but it's not quite, didn't want to quite work in this application. And I noticed that the wheel was pretty loose, so I pried up gently, and I do say very gently, from two different sides at the same time, behind the wheel, and just in the middle where it's the cast, or the metal, and it popped right off. And that, because it came off so easy, just kind of reinforced the idea that, wow, I do think somebody took this off at some point. I don't know why. because when I checked the wheel itself more thoroughly, the insulator was fine. I mean, nothing was coming apart. So then, again, it looked to me like it was just one wheel. And so I gently put it back on, put the side rods back on, kind of checked the rotation manually, then hooked the power up to it, ran it slowly, and all that clicking went away. So that's when I got out my very expensive, overpriced specialty tool, my blue clamp, and took the side rods back off and pushed that wheel on nice and tight, making sure I didn't overdo it. And after I did that, I put the side rods back on and reapplied some power, and was very happy with the results, as you'll see in a minute. So again, you know, probably the proper thing to do is to have a wheel puller, to have quartering devices, and you know, I'm not saying that I did everything by the book, and I'm not saying that everything's perfect, but the little bit I did here, I'm very pleased with the results. The clicking is gone, the wobbling is gone, the engine rolls very smoothly, and I'll be still so you can hear that. And there you go. So, we're just about ready to put this thing back together. As always, thanks for tuning in, and enjoy your American Flyer trains.